Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick breakdown prediction for this fight weekend coming up. UFC 253, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Real quick, man, I just want to give you my keys to victory for both fighters and my prediction, of course. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good, explosive fight. But at the same time, I think this could be a schooling for Paulo Costa. You know, I think that Israel Adesanya has that type of skill to make this just a one-sided 5-round fight. I think he has that in him, but to do that, he's gonna have to make sure he's on his A game and has all these tools because Paulo Costa, like I said, he's not as skilled as Adesanya. When you have that drive and that momentum, you know, sometimes that can overpower skills if the skill fighter is not focused. So Adesanya definitely have to make sure he's focused in this fight and uses every bit of his skill to take apart a guy like Paulo Costa. Because a lot of people, we feel like he can be picked apart from the outside, but got to be focused to do that. You know, this could be similar to Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade in the sense where he's getting picked apart and then all of a sudden, you know, that bigger, stronger fighter prevails because he's still focused. You know, if Adesanya falls asleep, he could get put to sleep. You know what I mean? Where this could play out like Joanna versus Jessica Andrade, where Joanna's on her game all night. And, you know, she uses her takedown defense. You know, she picks apart the brawler, the wrestler type that wants to come straight in. You know, the shorter, stronger, wider fighter. You keep them on the outside all night. You know, so with that being said, my quick keys to victory for Adesanya, really, jab. You know, all he has to do is keep this fight standing. Do not fight in the clinch if you don't have to. And just keep this fight moving at different angles. You know, just fight at a very steady pace, sometimes fast pace, where you're letting off your hand speed, showing off your hand speed, letting off shots, and getting out of the way, and just keeping that jab in Adesanya's face, keeping that jab in Paulo Costa's face all night. You know, switch levels with it, of course. You know, feint to the body, then shoot back up to the head, pop to the head at different rhythms. You know, you got to find a rhythm to offset Paulo Costa when he tries to come on the inside. You know, pop the jab off and then, of course, follow up with a good right hand. You know, but that jab is going to open up everything. It's going to open up the leg kicks. It's going to open up the body kicks. And it's definitely going to open up a solid right hand whenever Paulo Costa comes storming in. So definitely use that jab and keep this fight standing. And use good angles. You know, when you use those angles on somebody like a dart straight in for you, you know, it's really going to frustrate him more so than somebody that's backing up real fast. You know, you backing up, he's just going to come straight for you because eventually he's going to get to you. But if you use that, if you play the matador, you know, you use those different angles, it's going to really frustrate a guy like Paulo Costa. So really all he needs to do, Adesanya on his part, is just stay focused, pick him apart with the jab, and take this guy in the deep waters. You know, you got to take a guy like Paulo Costa in the deep water. Because if you look at the Yoel Romero fight, that 3-round fight, Paulo Costa was looking pretty gassed by the second round. You know, he was kind of breathing out of his mouth. He was taking some hard shots from Yoel Romero. He was wide open for these shots. Looked really damp, man, because he was just like sweaty, and he really looked like he was. I ain't gonna lie, by the third round, he looked like he was gassed. You know, so Adesanya, he has a style that's built for, you know, how many ever rounds. You know, he could go 5 rounds, no problem, of course, right? So for Adesanya, I feel like if he can't knock him out early on in like the second round or third round, and that shot's not being set up, then he could just like take him apart with, you know, steady, strong shots until he gets to that fifth round. Whenever you see Paulo Costa starting to gas out, then you can land that big shot. Then you can start, you know, planting that feet on those shots. But yeah, all Adesanya's got to do really for this fight is use his footwork, his boxing, and his striking, and some good side kicks to the body and check kicks, but no, not really any front kicks. I don't want to see him do those, and those telegraph kicks where he could get caught by Paulo Costa and taken down. So making sure his takedown defense is on point is another thing. So if he keeps this fight standing, he just defends all takedowns, I think that those are the big keys to victory for Adesanya. But for Paulo Costa, you just got to make this a rough and ugly fight, a calculated rough and ugly fight. Don't just run in there, you know, juvenile style. You know, you got to make sure you set up your rushes at time and your pressure. You know, you got to go in there with calculated pressure, moving your head when you're dealing with the guy with the longer range. You know, you're already 3 inches shorter with the 8-inch reach disadvantage, so you got to kind of weigh it in there a little bit like Tyson, but at the same time, you gotta have a solid jab. If you look at these powerhouses in the past that just come on the inside, they have a good jab. You know, they're shooting the jab to the chest, and then they're blinding you with that jab and coming over the top with the right hand. So Paulo Costa, you definitely gotta use a jab to get in on the inside. You know, jab is a good range finder and blinder, like I always say. Also, initiate those clinches. You know, you want to close the distance on the longer, taller fighter, get his back to the fence, and use this time to really work and rough up the guy that you feel like is not durable. You feel like he's skinny and you can break him. Well, you're gonna have to close that distance first and catch him. You know, once you initiate those clinches, that's where you got to make it a rough and ugly fight with knees to the body and leg, and really toss him around and get him to the ground. And with that being said, he has to go for takedowns. You know, you got to go for takedowns and keep a guy like this on his back, where you can use your strength and nullify him in a position all night, where you could either make it a boring, ugly fight or just sap him out until you could submit him. So you definitely got to take it to the ground. You got to make it a rough and ugly fight, initiate clinches, and not try to strike with him. You know, you got to make sure that you're keeping him at an uncomfortable pace. But with that being said, when I look at this as far as like a focused, when I look at the focus of both of these fighters, but I factor in the skill, my prediction, I'm gonna have to go with Adesanya in this fight, either by a 5-round decision or possibly a third or fourth round knockout. You know, I could definitely see Paulo Costa walking into something big. You know, he walked into some big shots from Yoel Romero. Yoel, he just wasn't able to follow up with some of these shots that he landed because he got hurt too. You know, he got hurt too early on in the first and second round. So Yoel, he was fighting a little bit more cautious, even though he was catching Paulo Costa with some good counters. But I see Adesanya using his reach early on, and whenever Paulo Costa comes in there, he's going to catch him with maybe a good stiff 1-2, and he'll be able to follow it up down the later rounds whenever Paulo Costa starts to gas, and then he'll probably catch him with something big in like 3 and 4. But if he doesn't knock him out by 3 and 4, I can see him just picking him apart with the jab, and I can see him busting Paulo Costa up, you know, up until the 5th round. Similar, like I said, to Joanna versus Jessica Andrade. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I'm hyped for fight night. Like I said, got a lot of fights going down. Let me know in the comment section who y'all think's gonna win, Adesanya or Costa. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.